to Action program. This session isn't going to be as long as our following sessions. It's really a session designed to introduce the program to each of you and answer any questions that you might have, and really just start to set some expectations around what you really want to achieve from this program over the next 6 months. We're going to be together for 6 months through this process, and I'm really excited to help you to really tap into the very best of yourselves from a leadership perspective and really take your leadership and your teams to that next level. So want to start before we get into the session. I know Tina sent me around a list of all of you who are participating, and I'm excited to get to know you better. But would love to start if we could go around the room just quickly. If you could introduce yourself. I know I've met all but one of you, I think, at the last session. But just introduce yourself and maybe just share quickly what you hope to, at this stage, from what you understand about the program, what you hope to walk away having experienced or learned. So that would be great. So I'm not sure who wants to start.
Hi, Nicole. My name is Steven. I'm the CFO. What I want to accomplish is to learn new tricks and good habits about being a good manager.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm the laboratory coordinator, and I hope that I'll be able to better motivate my staff after this.
Great. Thank you. I hope so too. I think you'll be able to.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
I'm Manon, and I'm the manager for the OR, ER, and MDRD department. And from this, I'm hoping to learn coaching techniques so I can guide my staff better, instead of just me saying, oh, I'll just do it because it's faster and it's easier. And hopefully together as a group, myself and my staff, we can work towards similar goals and objectives.
Awesome. Thanks, Manon. That's great. We will definitely be focusing on coaching and delegation, so that's great.
Hello, Nicole. I'm Louise. I'm the acute care manager and also the infection control. I'm new to this, and on the spot like this, I'm not sure exactly what to tell you I want to learn, but anything you have to offer will be greatly appreciated.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Hi, Nicole. I'm Sylvie Belanger. I'm Chief of Ancillary Services, which is everything but nursing and finance.
Wow.
So, all support services and most paramedical services. I'm hoping to get to learn to better delegate and how to deal with certain difficult employees.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Hi, Nicole. I'm Sylvie Camiri. I haven't met you at the session you gave. I'm the coordinator of health records. I have a pretty good team. They have a great teamwork and all that. I'm just hoping to get more tricks, I guess, to help them along.
Okay, good. Perfect. And I think, is that it, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you. And thank you for completing the needs assessment. So you really echoed a lot of the things that you shared through the needs assessment. And I designed this next 6 months. So there are really 6 specific learning topics that we'll review today that we developed or we identified based on what you shared through the needs assessment, and also a couple of other things that are really essential to those tricks, tips, and really building your...
Nicole, just hold on. We lost your the sound.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No?
I can hear you.
On n'a pas tout son. On a bien faire le son, t'as-tu une idée?
Okay. The sound just stopped. There was a weird buzzing sound and it just stopped.
I'm gonna call you.
Okay.
Bonjour.
Oui, ça serait pour faire une longue distance, s'il vous plaît.
Jump into really the purpose of this session, of this next 6 months together. So really, you all identified one of the main purposes, which is to provide you, with the tools and information you need to make your lives as leaders more effective, right? And so when we talk about leadership, we talked about this a little bit at our session together, for those of you that were at the session, the real difference between managing and leading, right? So leading is really about coaching and motivating and keeping people focused on that goal and supporting them in achieving that goal. So we're going to be focusing on giving you the tools and information and support you need to do that. Now, through your needs assessment, you also identified some needs around the management function. So areas such as being more organized or managing your time more effectively, or figuring out what should take priority more easily. And we're including that as well in the purpose of this course, strengthening some of those managerial tasks, because being organized and managing your time and managing your priorities all impact your ability to lead effectively and impact your ability to really set aside time and make leadership a priority. So we're going to provide you with tools and information to lead more effectively, and at the end of the day, also manage more effectively. So we're going to really focus in on your specific needs that you identified through your needs assessment, but also as we go through this program and as you create ideally more self-awareness of your leadership, because part of the process of the next 6 months is to gain greater awareness of the unique strengths that you each bring, and also gain some more awareness around areas for growth that may not have occurred to you before. So as we progress over the next 6 months, there may be some different types of needs that arise, and that's great, so that we can start to shift our conversation as needed throughout the next 6 months to focus in on what's most important to you and your ability to lead more easily and more effectively. Okay? And at the end of the day, to develop stronger and healthier teams. So that's the overall purpose of the next 6 months together. Okay, do you have any questions so far or comments? No. Okay. So let's take a look at how this program is structured. So, sorry, I'm just moving some things around on my screen. Okay, so there are really 3 main components to this process. One are the bi-weekly Learning Bites emails, which you might have seen from your colleagues who participated in the last session. So these emails, the content of each email will be structured around the content of the upcoming webinar. Okay, so for example, our first webinar this month will be focused on leading yourself, which we touched on in our workshop, but we're going to dive deeper into that. So this upcoming, your first Learning Bites email that will be this Tuesday will really be focused on leading yourself first. So setting SMART goals as far as what you really want to achieve through this process, for example. That's where we're going to start. So every 2 weeks you're going to be getting an email from me with tips and tools around that month's learning topic. So I'm going to talk about those emails a little bit more in a second. So Tuesday will be your first email. Every other Tuesday by 10 a.m. you're going to be getting an email from me, okay? The next component are our webinars, which will be like set up the way it is today, where we'll be diving into 7 different topics, okay, between now and December. And you'll be gaining tips and tools and also some quote-unquote homework or experiments to try on your own leadership and on your team, okay? And then the third component is the coaching, the one-on-one coaching with me. So I'll talk about each of these individually. Now, you'll also have your own website to access all of the tools that we'll be sharing through this process. So every webinar is recorded, okay? So if you can't make a webinar for whatever reason, it's okay. I mean, ideally, we want everybody at the webinars because they're designed to be interactive so that you can share challenges and best practices and experiences together. But if you can't make it, it will be recorded and available on this site, okay, within 24 to 48 hours of us doing the webinar. And when you want to go back and revisit a key piece of learning, it's there for you. So let me just show you the last group's website so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so it will look exactly like this, but you'll have a different URL. And you'll be able to see each date. You can get the webinar slides, the recording, and any handouts and tools that were included. Okay, so this will be available to you starting on Tuesday. Okay, let me find my slides here. Okay, so the emails. So as I mentioned, each email will be focused on the topic of that month. So this month is all about leading yourself first. And each email will result in sort of an action item for you. Okay, so some suggestions around how to lead yourself more effectively this month. So this process is not just about me sharing information with you and us having conversation and learning together through our webinars and our coaching. It's called turning learning into action. So it's really about you taking the information that you gain, whether it's information from me or your colleagues through great discussion, and applying it, okay? So between each webinar and each email, there's opportunity for you to practice and try out the tools so that when you encounter challenges that you can come back to the next webinar and say, hey, I really struggled with that. Can you help me, or how can I use it better? Or say, hey, that really worked, and to share your best practices, okay? And it's all about trial and error, right? We can't improve unless we try and make some tweaks here and there and find something that works for you. This isn't designed to be a one-size-fits-all type of program, okay? We want to meet you where you're at and meet you where your team is at. So it's very flexible, okay? Now on Tuesday, your first Learning Bites email is going to include your goal setting template, okay? And I know you shared some of your goals with me through the needs assessment, which were great. This development goal setting template is going to prompt you to define your goals very specifically using the SMART method, right? So making sure that they're specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely, okay? So, and I'll spell all of that out for you in your template, and you'll be asked to develop at least 2 SMART goals that you will achieve by the end, that you want to achieve by the end of the 6 months. And we'll keep coming back to your goals so that you can stay on track. So any questions so far with about the Learning Bites email?
No.
Okay, can you hear me still? I moved the phone away. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're very quiet.
Okay, perfect. So those are the emails. Then the next piece are the webinars, which is my favorite part. And, you know, the webinars, for those of you who experienced our in-person session, it's the next best thing. right? So if I can't be there with you, I'm hoping that these webinars and the feedback that I've had so far is that this is the next best thing. So these webinars aren't designed for me, like this session is more me talking at you, right? Because I'm really just sharing an overview of the process. So these webinars are really designed to be much more interactive. So similar to the in-person session, they're going to be exercises for you to complete, whether individually or together as a group in your meeting room, and then we'll have discussion about it, okay? So it's about me sharing some thoughtful information or some tools, and then you talk about it and apply it, and then we'll talk about it as a larger group and share feedback. So they really are designed to be interactive. And most importantly, designed to ensure that you have what you need to then go out and apply the tools or the learning that you gain in each webinar. Because the following webinar, we're going to come back and say, okay, what was your experience? How did it go? What did you do? So we'll be really following up on the previous webinars and then moving to the next topic. Okay. Any questions about the webinar?
Nope.
So far, so good.
Oh, sorry, yeah?
So far, so good.
Okay, great. So these are the learning topics. So, and again, they were driven mostly, I would say 90%, from the feedback that you shared through the needs assessment. So our very first topic is leading self. And we touched on this a little bit in our workshop together. And this is a really important topic to start with because, of course, if you can't lead yourself effectively, it's going to be far more challenging to lead others. So this first part is about setting your intentions, setting the goals that you want to achieve through this process, really identifying the type of leader that you want to be more regularly, right? We're going to be learning about emotional intelligence, what that means to you and your team members, and why it's so important to be an emotionally intelligent leader. And we're going to be recapping our learning on accountability and really identifying from a leadership perspective where there may be areas for you to take greater accountability of your leadership, whether it's taking more accountability in delegating, whether it's taking more accountability in providing difficult feedback, okay? Whatever it is that you're shying away from because you just don't know how to do it, or it's uncomfortable, or it's a different way of leading, those are signs of areas that you could take more accountability in. So we're going to be looking at those areas as well. Okay, so that's the first session. The next session, a number of you identified the challenge of juggling so many things, right? Many of you have a number of teams under you, which causes a challenge in and of itself, right? And when we have a number of balls in the air, some are inevitably going to drop. And so this session is about learning to manage our time more effectively, learning which tasks, identifying which tasks are really most important, and also identifying the tasks of a leader that must always take priority over the details of managing. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that and giving you some time management tools. Then some of you also identified the challenge of, dealing with difficult behaviors or difficult people or personalities, right? And also the challenge of delegation. So this session is really understanding the difference between being assertive and being aggressive, right? Or being unassertive and maybe perceived as wishy-washy because we're not standing up and dealing with those difficult behaviors in an assertive way. Okay, so you'll gain an understanding about what an assertive leader looks like and why it's so essential, and some tools to communicate assertively so that you can address issues when they arise in an effective way, and so that you can delegate more effectively to others. And then this next topic goes hand in hand with the assertive leader, okay? Once we have more confidence in our ability to communicate effectively, and by assertively, I don't mean it's a one-way communication, okay? Assertively is more about speaking with confidence and being confident in our ability to help somebody else or to delegate or deal with issues, okay? So it's about how we communicate. And that goes hand in hand with providing feedback that's difficult, coaching, and performance management. So this is really going to go back to what you learned in the workshop a couple of months ago. Now, for those of you who weren't there, that's okay, because we're going to be recapping it and really addressing, you know, some of the challenges that you've had in using the tools. So right now, I'm going to say, for those of you who have the IGRO model and the feedback tool and the performance management tool, when you have opportunities between now and how many months, 1, 2, 3, now and 4 months from now, to use those feedback and coaching tools, please use them. Because the more feedback that you can bring to this webinar around what's working and what's not, the more effective that webinar will be for you. So please look for opportunities to try them over the next few months so that we can address any issues you're having. Okay? And then the next webinar is about creating a change-compatible team, okay? And what you as a leader can do to prevent, you know, a very rigid response where teams fight against change, and help to create a more flexible, open response so that people look for ways to make the change work as opposed to just hoping it will go away, right, or fighting against it. Okay. And then also this is a very practical webinar, the meeting effectiveness webinar. So as leaders, you know, team meetings are a very important tool, okay, and a very important process where you bring your team together to address issues, to get work done, to delegate, to get people's ideas and look for new and better ways of doing things and working together. So bringing your team together regularly, and by regularly I don't mean it has to be once a week, but at least once a month, to focus on the team is really essential. And so many leaders shy away from it because A, I have too many other things on the go, okay, and B, we always get off topic, the meetings are never productive, nobody shows up, right, or, you know, and it's just an unproductive waste of time. So we want to be sure that your meetings are not only paying off in results, but that your team members are highly engaged and find it to be a very valuable and useful experience and well worth their time. So we're going to be looking at how to make meetings work for you and your team and the reasons why they're so important. And then finally, the last webinar is all about maintaining momentum. So we will have spent 6 months together, and this is the, all right, now what? Now what do I do to make sure that I'm still able to remember all of this information? Are you still able to hear me okay? I got a message from GoToMeeting saying that the connection was slow.
No, we're okay.
Okay, good. So any questions or comments on the learning topics?
No.
Okay. Okay. Anything that you were really hoping to see but didn't? Now, I know somebody mentioned motivating, okay? So motivation and inspiring comes through leading self, comes through assertiveness, comes through feedback and coaching and change compatibility. So that motivation and inspiration piece that I think one of you mentioned will be woven through almost all of this, okay?
Okay.
So is there anything else that you feel, I wish I was hoping to see something about this topic and you're not seeing it here?
No.
Okay. Okay, great.
We're very quiet, eh?
Yeah,
Compared to the
well,
last group.
they're on the first webinar, and there's
Yeah.
not much opportunity for group exercise on this one, but next time there'll be more energy.
Don't even get me started.
Maybe Tina will surprise us with hats, and then I'll bring my own.
Okay.
So as far as scheduling, Tina had a really great idea. So we're doing a webinar once a month for the next, until December. And so Tina suggested, you know, identifying the last Thursday of every month or something like that, so that it's consistent.
Well, what's difficult here is that it's over the summer. There's always going
C'est correct.
to be someone missing. Okay.
C'est correct. C'est pour ça que c'est allé revoir le webinaire. She was telling us it's going to be difficult because of the summer, and we have the webinar that is registered.
Yeah, it's going to be recorded. So if there's, you know, I know July and August is going to be tricky. And so it'll be the time management one and the assertive leader one, that there may be one or two people on each that may not be there due to vacation, but they'll be recorded.
Okay.
C'est quoi les dates?
So we can determine, is it, do you want it a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Monday, a Tuesday? Not a Wednesday.
A Tuesday through Thursday would be great, any one of those 3 days.
So do you want it in the morning, in the afternoon?
Thursday.
Thursday at what time? Afternoon.
1 o'clock.
At 1. 1 or 1:30?
1 to 2:30?
No, 1:30.
1:30.
Oh, 1:30 to 3?
Yeah.
Perfect.
What? No,
Okay, I'll put that in Outlook.
on the quoi les jeux?
Okay. Tina, I just go through, once you put it in Outlook, I just need to make sure that that there aren't any Thursdays where I happen to be out of town or booked.
Okay.
But I'll take a look at all of the last Thursdays after this session just to be sure that they're all free, and if not, there may have to be one that's alternating to a Wednesday or something.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Or
Like the last Thursday in December might be a problem too.
Oh yeah, actually the December one, I'm going to suggest it be early in the month because it'll be the
Wrap
it should
up.
be a week after the last one in November because it's the maintaining momentum, so it should be early December.
Okay.
would it be easier if, like, instead of being like on the last week, like the before last week or the third week?
The third week?
I don't know, just because I know the last week of August, a few of us are missing, and last week of this September, July, same thing, a few of us are missing, so.
Il va toujours quelqu'un qui va manquer.
Why?
So the third or the last?
The third works too if that's better.
Okay, so the third.
Okay.
Third week. 1:30 till 3, and I'll wait for your email before I book that in Outlook.
Okay, I'll look at it after this call. Okay, great. Okay, so that's the webinar. Now, the next piece is the coaching piece, which is also a very powerful piece of this process. So you each have 4 30-minute telephone coaching sessions with me, which are confidential, just you and I on the phone. And you will have an opportunity to work through a leadership challenge. Now, the way we're going to be structuring this coaching session is that you and your manager, okay, so you and your direct report, your direct manager, you're going to sit down at some point over the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk about this more in our Leading Self webinar, and really identify an area of your leadership that you want to focus our coaching sessions on. So this is an opportunity for you to get feedback as well from your manager and to work together and say, hey, look, I'm participating in the Turning Learning into Action program. These are the goals that I've set for myself. So you're going to share your personal development goals. Is there anything else that you think I should work on? And then our coaching sessions are going to be focused on your leadership development goals. okay? And we'll have a coaching session around how you can achieve those goals more easily, okay? We've changed the structure a little bit from the last group that we did. The way we structured coaching last time was, okay, hey, on your coaching call, bring whatever challenge you might have at the time, and we'll coach through it. We'll have a coaching session on it. And so that worked for some, but not for everybody, because it was difficult to think about, oh, well, what do I want to talk about today? So we've changed the process so that the coaching sessions are very focused on your specific leadership goals and the challenges associated with achieving them. Okay, so we'll talk more about this in the Leading Self webinar, and there'll be more information in your first email next week. Okay. So any questions?
No.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Not yet.
And the coaching sessions, I'll be using the iGrow model. So it's a way for these coaching sessions are also a way for me to model coaching for you, right? So that you can learn through experiencing coaching as well. Okay. So now here's the opportunity to have some participation. So thinking about the next 6 months, what do you think, or what would you like to see happen? What are some best practices for each of you that you feel you need to demonstrate? What would you like to experience in the webinars? What's needed? What needs to happen in order to have a successful experience over the next 6 months? Just throw out some ideas.
Well, to be comfortable as a leadership by having all these tools and make it easier as a manager.
Okay, great. So the hope is that these tools will make it easier for all of you to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So what else needs to happen for a successful experience?
Well, we need to participate, and we need to practice and implement what we learn if we want to grow with it and keep it going.
Okay.
Good answer.
Yeah, exactly, right? Participation, practicing, and implementing are key. Okay, key to a successful experience. And, I think Tina mentioned this in your last comment, comfortable, okay? This is designed to be, to hopefully create a very comfortable, safe space, whether it's in the interactive webinars or on coaching calls with me, to bring your stuff, right? To be open and honest about your experiences, whether, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And so I'm hoping there'll be a lot of success stories to share, but also please be open as far as what your fears are or what stresses you out about leading or coaching or whatever topic we're focusing on at the time, so that we can have a very useful and honest, so that I can provide you with the best support given where you're at with a certain tool or topic or leadership experience. Okay, anything else? Okay, so you basically nailed you hit the nail on the head. A couple of additional things is really your goal setting. So this first email will be really important to spend some time developing the specific goals you want to achieve as a leader, okay? And you'll bring those goals with you, and they can change and you can refine them over time, but bring them to the first webinar, okay? And you'll have more detail and everything that you need in the email. And also please know that in each email will be my direct phone number and my email address. So you have complete access to me. You don't have to wait for a coaching session to pick up the phone and call me, okay? So if you ever have any questions or something's not unclear, Or, man, I have a coaching session tomorrow with one of my staff, or I have to give feedback tomorrow and I'm not sure how to do it. Pick up the phone and give me a shout or shoot me an email. Okay, that's part of this process as well. Another practice is, I think Manon had said, is applying the tips and tools. Okay, so when you get an email and you're getting one every 2 weeks, it can be easy for them to pile up if you're not taking 10 minutes, you know, when, the day that it arrives to really read it and think about how am I going to use this, right? So we don't want these emails just to be like, oh, that's another email, that's another email. They're really designed to help you, and they'll help you if you take time and set aside time to read them and think about how you can apply it. Share your questions and success stories like we talked about, and please, you know, use your coaching sessions. So I'll be reaching out to each of you in a few weeks to schedule time for your coaching sessions. Okay, you have 4 over the course of the next 6 months, so there's no rush. It's probably better to start using them, you know, at least after the first webinar, or maybe even the second, once you've gotten your feet wet a little bit with this and some issues come up, that we can then start focusing on your specific goals. Okay, but I'll reach out to each of you individually in a couple of weeks about your coaching session. Okay, anything else that we might have missed on the best practices? Well, that's an overview of the program. So how are you feeling about it?
Excited.
Excited. Oh, I like that word. That's great.
He's going on vacation.
Yeah. Webinar is over.
Looking forward to it, especially there are certain things that I'm anxious to learn about, especially dealing with certain difficult employees.
It is difficult unions.
Well, I find like we have the tools and like, you know, from the workshop as well that we had with you, but I find it so difficult to apply it. It's like you just don't know how to go about it, how to start. Like, you know, like it's more than one leadership session I attend, and it's like I know what I have to do, but it's just to do it and how to do it and to get it going. I find this is where it's very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's that first step that's the hardest. And so we'll talk about that. I'm going to make a note. So how to start, right? How to take that first step and get over the blocks that you might have. And oftentimes, the reason why we're not trying it is that we have our own personal blocks, whatever they may be. We're scared. It's really new. I might have the steps here, but who should I try this on? Who's going to be my guinea pig? You know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Someone easy. For sure, absolutely. You know, don't make your first try at being the most challenging person in your life.
You'll give up. You'll quit.
You don't want to give up. We want small wins. So it's all about baby steps, right? So we're really going to be looking at that in our first webinar on leading self. And leading self is also really about going easier on yourself sometimes too, right? And it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to try and start slow. So we'll be looking at that.
I think the big thing is we always try to just please people too much.
Absolutely. And that's really about being an assertive leader.
Yep.
And looking at what, you know, by always pleasing, is that really best for the team and for the hospital and for you? How does that make you feel when you're always trying to please others? So that's really about the assertive leader. That's a really good point about pleasing others, and it's common.
I think I should just give you my job.
You know what? Leadership isn't easy, you know, but again, with the right tools, it can be a lot easier, and it doesn't have to be a stress, and it'll just become more natural and hopefully a lot more enjoyable once you not just have the tools, like you say, you have a whole bunch of tools, but become comfortable using them and learning how to use them. And that's really what I'm here for. Okay. Anything else? Those were great comments and questions. Is the webcam something that we should have? I didn't use the webcam in the last.
No.
Keep it?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Are we going to try and have our other session in the boardroom?
Yeah, and the other, because we had there was a session in boardroom.
All day.
GPA.
Oh, we.
We'll be better prepared next time.
Oh, yeah.
Setup.
Always some, bumps to work through. Well, I think that's it. I think my next step is to look at my calendar to make sure the Thursdays of every third week in the month work from 1:30 to 3. So, Tina, I'll send you a note about that. And then please watch your emails on Tuesday morning for your very first Learning Bites email. And then and it'll include your website link where you'll find the recorded webinar from today and your personal development plan, and that's the website that you'll go to from now on for all of your tools.
All right. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.